Story 1. No more Doritos for me. $7 for a normal-sized bag? Not for my fat ass. Story 2. We are comfortably middle class, but I am no longer buying beef at regular price. If I do not see a sales sticker on the beef, I will not buy it. My wife and I eat a decent amount of tofu and tempeh for protein. Story 3. About $100 a month. I have cut television subscriptions and have not bought new clothes in all of 2025. Story 4. Sam's and Costco $5 rotisserie chickens are really helping us. We buy one and get about 3 meals out of it for my wife and 2 kids. We eat the thighs and legs with vegetables as sides. Then we shred the breast meat for salads, enchiladas, and quesadillas. Story 5. I cook my lunch or dinner, and I cannot get out of the grocery store for less than $120 for a week's worth of groceries. I only have my children 50% of the time. It would easily be over $200 if I were shopping to feed 4 people each week. I do not go out and I do not pay for trips or hobbies that require money. It is extremely depressing. Story 6. I shop at Aldi almost exclusively now. My wife and I spend $250 every 2 weeks. Prices have risen a lot. I also do not buy many of the items I used to. I estimate that for about half of the food I used to get, I now pay twice as much. Story 7. I am financially comfortable, but that does not mean I want to overpay for things. I have cut out many restaurant meals and shifted much of my grocery shopping to Walmart. Story 8. Fresh vegetable prices have skyrocketed. Broccoli and cauliflower are up by about 33%, and blueberries have increased by a similar amount. Do not even think about fresh tomatoes. Nearly everything that is not part of an automated harvest, such as potatoes, has become very expensive. Story 9. Lay's, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Wendy's, boycotting them because of their pure and absurd greed. $9.99 for a fucking 12-pack of Coca-Cola. Get the fuck out of here. Not that they were staples in my grocery shopping before, but their prices are outrageous. And fuck your app that offers a few dollars off. Story 10. I am eating a lot less meat. I have always cooked 99% of my meals, but I have had to adjust my menus to mostly plant-based dishes. It has been kind of fun experimenting with new recipes. I would really like a steak, though. It is just out of my budget right now. Story 11. Here is an example. Trader Joe's roasted garlic and pesto pizza, my favorite frozen pizza, cost $5.99 at the start of the year. The same pizza now costs $6.50. That is a 50-cent increase for a single product, and it is on the low side. Multiply that across 20 to 40 items. I am lucky to have only myself to feed, so I cannot imagine how difficult it is with children, especially teenagers who will eat their weight in snacks. Story 12. Man, how are you guys eating so cheaply? I feel like I spend $80 just buying stuff for sandwiches and chips. Story 13. Our grocery bill has increased by approximately $300 per month since last year. It used to be about $700 a month, but now it is $1,000. Between 2024 and 2025, we experienced a 200% increase in homeowners and auto insurance premiums in Colorado, the highest increase in the country due to excessive hail damage and wildfires related to climate change. As a result, we have already cut back on non-essential spending such as streaming and other subscription services, alcohol, and eating out. It is becoming increasingly difficult to find any wiggle room. Like many neighbors who have started holding regular garage sales, we have been selling tools, household items, and furniture we no longer use to fill the gaps. But that will only last so long. Story 14. I stopped buying ribeyes most of the time because it is about $18.99 per pound here. I am in Alaska, though. Story 15. $300 to $350 from 2021 to 2024. $470 in 2025. I had to analyze whether I was wasting food. I strategically and methodically plan my meals each week. I shop at Costco, Trader Joe's, and Safeway or Target. I use all three, and it is really hard to keep my weekly grocery spending below $350. I make a decent salary, but if I am starting to shop like this and I am rarely going out to eat, restaurants and small businesses are going to start hurting. Story 16. I am a college student and I have been spending 90% of my paycheck on food this entire year. Story 17. I would say it is up about $100 a month, as many have said. Consequently, we are saving and investing significantly less than we had been. We have cut back on dining out, trimmed subscriptions, canceled paid entertainment, and so on. Fuck Trump and his claim that prices are the lowest they have ever been. That is bullshit. As always, I hope he and his goons have the day they deserve. Story 18. $100 or more saved easily, and that is just from continuing what we were doing before. We have stopped buying meat, and when we do buy it, we make sure it is for multiple meals to stretch it, such as a chili or a stew. We have invested in a water purifier. We buy cheaper or discounted coffee instead of the daily Starbucks habit. We canceled Amazon, Spotify, and Hulu. We only keep Netflix, and we have started reading more for affordable entertainment, which is honestly great. Story 19. I shop at the same grocery store every week and use a single credit card exclusively for that store. So it is very easy to track my spending. Starting in July 2024, I was averaging $100 per week. On my most recent statement, my average is $135 per week. I have not cut any expenses because I am fortunate to live well within my means. I am 63 years old, retired, and living off my investments and Social Security. Story 20. A good 25%. We just saw the butter we get go from $5 to $12 because it is Kerrygold from Ireland. Story 21. All three of my children left for college in August 2024. My bill is not much lower now than when they lived here. Story 22. I basically buy the same groceries every week. My groceries have gone up 40%. Story 23. Mine has actually gone down, but part of that is that I have switched from making multiple meals per week to meal prepping a week's worth at a time. Story 24. My 6-month rolling average grocery spending has gone from $282 to $316, a $34 increase, which is 12%. To be honest, it does not make a noticeable difference to my budget, and I am not sure how much of that is statistical noise. The Consumer Price Index for groceries has gone up 2.1% since then, and I am inclined to believe that is accurate. Story 25. I am very fortunate to be in a position where I do not have to closely track my grocery spending. That said, I have been actively looking for final sale items. For example, Whole Foods Market marks items near expiration at 50% off. It is an excellent way to get affordable organic produce, prepared foods, fresh pasta, and similar items. The catch is you need to be able to use them within a day or two. Story 26. Ground beef prices have increased significantly. I have been using ground turkey for many similar recipes. Story 27. We used to spend a couple of $100s on groceries a month for a family. It is now just shy of $400 to $500 a month. We have cut back on brand name items and out-of-season produce. We have tried to buy in bulk to save on items with bulk discounts, but that is hard when things go bad or expire. Our store-bought coffees are gone. No treats after the kids' activities unless we pre-pack them now. My wife and I are high earners for the lower middle class, approximately $160,000 together. We own our cars and have a small mortgage on our house. We are currently drawing into our savings and emergency fund to keep up. I have no idea how anyone is making this work without some kind of sacrifice. I hate that I am raising my kids in a world where sacrifice is required just to have food on the table. Story 28. If you use the Fetch application, you can go back and see exactly what you have paid in the past for anything you have bought. I have used it for 5 years. I have never seen increases like these. It was not even this drastic from 2021 to 2024. It is horrible. I am tired of the president telling me it is not bad. Story 29. Wasn't there a promise to lower prices? How is that going? Remember that in November 2026. Story 30. My bill is around 500 Canadian dollars a month for one person. I do not eat out or buy beef. Story 31. Our groceries cost 20 to 30% more. We have not cut any expenses, but our savings have decreased. We are also much more aware of sales when buying groceries. Story 32. I do not really know, but I do know that when I go to Costco and buy about 5 items, the total is almost always over $100, except for hot dogs and rotisserie chickens. It is crazy. Transactions over $200 used to be very rare. Now they are common, and totals of $400 are not uncommon. Fast food is insane now. I am still trying to break the habit of thinking it is cheap, because if you take 3 people to Wendy's or Chick-fil-A, it is easily over $30. I drink a lot of coffee and used to feel that making it at home was a cheap way to get my fix. Now it feels like a luxury. It has not stopped me from drinking it yet, but it adds up to a significant amount over the year. Story 33. We are 2 adults and 2 children. We used to spend about $75 a week at Aldi for regular items, plus about $50 at Asian and specialty grocery stores for things like produce, fresh tofu, and gluten-free products because I have a diagnosed allergy. Now my bill at Aldi runs about $125 or more. I have cut out almost all gluten-free breads because they are too expensive, so we mostly have rice cakes, or chips. The children do not get treats after meals on weekends unless it is an ice pop. We buy fewer meats and make more homemade meals when I have time, or we buy pre-made boxed foods that I usually cannot eat. I feel bad about those for the children because they are high in salt and low in nutritional value. Story 34. I do not buy snack items like chips or cookies very much anymore. I have young children, so it is more important for me to have fresh food, and the expensive snacks had to go. Fresh produce has definitely become more expensive, but thankfully I am in a place where I can make it work. Story 35. I'm unsure exactly how much my overall grocery bill has increased. It has become disheartening to go grocery shopping. I keep finding items that cost $1 or $2 more than before. I feel nickel and dimed when I see it. I try to shop sales as much as I can. Story 36. I have cut my grocery bill almost in half by shopping at Aldi. Story 37. It has been a good time to go on a diet. I have voluntarily lost 20 pounds. I have saved a lot of money. Story 38. We quit buying beef almost completely. It's a treat now. We make a lot of chicken dishes and meals using canned tuna. I'd say my bill has easily gone up $200 for a family of 4 that includes 2 teenagers. Story 39. Mine has not gone up at all since I eat out for 2/3 of my meals. I just make a smoothie at home for breakfast. It has always been cheaper for me to eat out than to cook at home as a single person. Story 40. I have always thought this is a hard question because I have never consistently bought the same groceries every month. It depends on what I buy. I would rather look at available data for grocery prices. Story 41. Everything is more expensive. I work at a grocery store, and the price increases I have seen are insane. Fast food is just as expensive. Feels like you are out of luck wherever you go. Story 42. Our cost has gone from about $1,250 to $1,500 for my family of 4. We are definitely getting lower quality cuts of meat. I used to like ribeye. It has gone from $14.99 to $22.99, so we don't get it anymore. Story 43. I bought basic groceries for the week for my wife and me. The total was $184. 18 eggs cost $11. We are expecting a child. It is going to be very expensive to add an additional mouth to feed, along with all other baby-related expenses. Story 44. I am only cooking for myself. My pantry and freezer have always been well stocked. I developed a bad habit of stockpiling food during the coronavirus pandemic, so some months I spend very little, often less than $100, sometimes even less. That is mainly for fresh produce, dairy, bread, and other staples. I almost never go out to eat or order takeout. The only real exception is a local Mexican restaurant that sells fajitas for $16. They give an absolute ton of steak, peppers, and onions. It is easily enough for 3 meals, so it is worth it to me. Story 45. According to my shopping history, my spending is about 23% higher than in previous years. I also feel that produce and food quality have decreased, along with product sizes, a phenomenon known as shrinkflation. Story 46. It adds $250 to $300 to our normal grocery bill because my child only likes name-brand formula. We eat out less and no longer buy soda regularly, among other changes. We avoided much of the extra cost because we already ate mostly chicken for protein and only ate beef occasionally. We buy chilled chicken at $3 a pound from Costco, chop it into cubes, and bag it in 1 pound and half-pound portions for meal prep. One suggestion is to double-check your car insurance costs and get other quotes to save money. In Utah, I found I could get the same policy and options through a different provider for $1,000 less than I had been paying for car and renter's insurance. I also recommend rotating streaming subscriptions. Choose 1 or 2 services, watch what you want for a month or 2, then switch to other services and watch what interests you there. That way you still get the latest content without paying for around-the-clock access. Story 47. I stopped eating out. I started buying cheap coffee instead of fair trade. It's okay and half the cost. I gave up sandwich meat and chips and now make soups from scraps and leftovers. I eat half as much for breakfast, and the dinner meat portion is halved. No more steak. My ground beef dishes are half beef and half ground turkey. I also gave up fresh fruit. I tried making my own dinner bread and muffins, but I can't get the knack yet. Story 48. It's me and one other. We try to cook everything at home because it is cheaper than ordering out all the time. But over the last year, we are up about $100 per month. It requires shopping at 3 different stores, plus we do a Sam's Club and Costco haul. We are probably spending around $350 a month right now. I fear it is only going to get worse. Story 49. In October 2024, we spent $745. This October, we spent $660. We also moved from Central Oregon to Central Pennsylvania. We actively reduced grocery expenses. Story 50. It used to be easily $100 to $150. I remember my grocery haul was $150 to $200. These days, it is $250 to $300. I am buying store brand items and clearance items, which I never did before. I cut out all streaming services except Spotify, which I plan to cancel because of their support of immigration and customs enforcement. I keep using Amazon because it is very convenient, though I know the company has problems. I pirate most of the media I watch and jump between free trials when available. Story 51. I have been spending almost every last penny I have to get closer to self-sufficiency. Everything I used to spend on hobbies and entertainment now goes toward growing my own food and moving closer to living off the grid. Story 52. I save about $200 per month on food. I stopped ordering delivery and cut back on eating out to 1 to 2 times per month. I also shop sales at different grocery stores instead of buying everything from the closest one. Story 53. Everything is set up, and I am taking data privacy much more seriously. I am building a personal cloud and a streaming Plex box. I am purchasing old media because it is very inexpensive and will allow me to cancel my streaming services. Since I mostly watch older content anyway, it is more expensive upfront, but it will save money in a couple of months. Raspberry Pi and open source software for the win. Story 54. Maybe $100 a month. We were very fortunate to live below our income for many years, and even with this increase, our expenses remain below our income. Not having children makes this much easier. We have cut back on subscriptions and eat out less often. We buy more ingredients and fewer prepared meal components. Story 55. I am a recipient of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, so I guess you could say I have cut all expenses as of this month. Story 56. We are heavily relying on my dad's hunting right now. The oldest child moved back home because he did not want to take on debt to cover basic necessities. The second oldest decided against student housing next semester and has been eating here, so we are feeding 6 people for adults. We raided my dad's freezers for venison and were lucky enough to get some duck as well. I do not eat fish, but I expect it will be on the menu a lot in the warmer months because several of my children enjoy fishing. There are a couple of small farms nearby offering reasonable prices for beef and pork, so we buy from them when we can, but rumors say they may not stay in business much longer. Story 57. I live in New York City. I no longer buy beef. It is ridiculously expensive now. Luckily, there is a food pantry on my way to the grocery store, so I usually stop there to see what I can get for free before deciding what to make. Chicken and pork are still reasonably priced for now. My friends and I started getting beef by buying a whole cow from a farm upstate, having it butchered, dry-aged, and vacuum-sealed, and splitting it among nearly 20 of us. This gives us the best value, but the effort to organize it is such a pain in the ass compared to back in the day, when you could just go down to the market and buy a couple of steaks at a reasonable price. Story 58. Knock on wood, but not too much. We eat less red meat, which is a huge bummer. We use farmers markets and especially community-supported agriculture programs for vegetables. Small things have gone up in price here and there, but beef is the biggest disappointment. I've been looking to buy a portion of a cow for a while. I should have done it already, but I need to get a chest freezer first. Story 59. I don't track my grocery expenses, so I don't have an exact figure. I'm buying much less beef and more chicken and pork. Story 60. We make 2 grocery trips per month that cost $200 each, and 1 trip to Sam's Club for $150. Feels like we get less for our money every time we shop. We hardly eat out anymore. When we do, it is usually pizza or a place with a kids eat free special. Story 61. I've stopped buying food unless it will be used in a meal today or tomorrow. Instead of buying a full wardrobe, I bought a 6-pack of Kirkland t-shirts, 1 thrifted coat, 3 pairs of thrifted pants, and I have been putting off new shoes for months. I learned to replace my own oil, saving $0 the first time because of the tools I needed, but saving approximately $90 the second time I changed the oil. I am getting creative with do-it-yourself repairs and solutions instead of spending $25 on Amazon for an immediate fix. I buy non-perishable necessities in huge bulk when possible. I am finding fun free activities at home and nearby instead of going on vacations. I skipped this year's vacation entirely. Next year's trip is planned to be camping. About $15 a night, plus gas and a bit more for nicer food, with an overall budget of $150. I donate plasma on the side. I am moving in with my partner to significantly reduce our rent. I have gone through all subscriptions and expenses and tried to cut more of them. I have worked hard at my job and developed myself for promotions or better opportunities. In 2021, after I graduated college, my first full-time job paid $40,000 a year with terrible benefits. Today, I make $70,000 a year with excellent benefits, about $85,000 total compensation. Despite all that, I am still fucked and will probably need to file bankruptcy. I do not see a path to home ownership in the next 7 years, if not longer. Fuck Donald J. Trump and the oligarchy. Story 62. I would estimate an extra $150 per month for a single person who buys a lot of fresh fruits, vegetables, and meats. Story 63. It's just me, so it hasn't jumped too much. I started buying family packs of meat and separating them into zip-top bags. I love blueberries, but they are getting very expensive. Story 64. My grocery bill jumped so high it joined the Space Exploration Technologies Corporation program. Story 65. No name-brand chips, cereals, or other products at this point. No eating out. The grocery bill has been in the $250 range every week. Also, it is ridiculously funny how the clowns who were crying about high grocery prices during the election do not have anything to say now. Story 66. $10 for 1 pound of ground beef. What the fuck? Fuck you, Trump, and all your cronies. Story 67. I do not have exact figures, but we have greatly reduced our consumption of meat, especially beef. We absorbed the price increase for coffee. Story 68. I was just complaining about this. It is getting ridiculous. Half a gallon of milk is $5. A small bag of oranges was $8. My old cat's food is wet meow mix, frankly the worst junk food for cats. But it is the only thing he keeps down, and it doubled in price to $17. Story 69. About $200 a month if you include household products and toiletries. Story 70. My grocery bills have been up since 2020. I've cut back on everything. Story 71. Some food prices have risen considerably. We have cut back on premium items and are now cooking food that can last us several meals. Story 72. It's always been a tradition to order 20 wings and 2 slices every Friday. But with cooked wings costing $2 per wing, the sticker shock is too much. I know it's much cheaper to buy, cut, and cook my own wings, but on Fridays I just want to eat with no prep or cleanup. I can't justify almost $50 for 20 wings and 2 slices when it was $25 to $30 a year or two ago. Story 73. I have not noticed. I have not cut anything because I only buy necessities. Story 74. Not much. Many grocery items have gotten cheaper. Canned vegetables went up 9 cents. Eggs are $9 for 60 eggs now. Beef is the exception, and I know why it is so expensive. Story 75. It is difficult to say. For most people, I would say not much at all because they are cutting back on food they used to purchase. Story 76. I spend approximately $300 a month, and I buy less food than I used to. I feed a family of 4. I have cut every expense imaginable. Now I just put it on a credit card and work as hard as I can to pay it off. I may never catch up. Story 77. A little over $100 a month. There is no foreseeable increase in my income, so I had to cut something. Cable television. I now only have internet service and do not miss cable very much. There is really nothing else I can cut at this point in my life. Story 78. It's actually hard to say. Maybe $100 a week. We've cut the majority of our streaming services. No snacks or processed foods. Story 79. I honestly do not have a number. This is the case when you are barely eating or not eating. Story 80. Spam used to be $2.50. Now it is $4.15. Earl Campbell's used to be $2.50. Now they are $4. All of this occurred within a year. Story 81. We started going to Aldi first, which is significantly cheaper than Publix, and then we go to Publix for specific items we cannot get at Aldi. We have cut out eating out a lot. The only days we consider going are when there is a kids eat free promotion. Those changes have saved us a good amount of money. We have also stopped buying needless items unless we have major coupons. Next will be our direct satellite television service, but we have only kept it because, since we have service from American Telephone and Telegraph for our cell phones, we get a discount and home box office is included. Story 82. Hard to say exactly as things fluctuate. On average, our Costco bill has gone up about $30 to $50 per trip. We go once a week. Our grocery bill has risen by about the same amount, so probably anywhere between $240 and $400 a month for a family of 5. We cut streaming services, do not have all services active at once, and eliminated YouTube television entirely. We only buy things we really need, avoiding luxury purchases such as additional home decor. Story 83. I stopped buying beef and now harvest my own venison. Story 84. It's been about the same. I have not cut out anything, though. I have been adding some things. Story 85. Can't remember the last time I got takeout or meal delivery. I used to order Deliveroo at least once a week, but it is now too expensive, and with other costs rising it is not worth it. The same goes for Uber rides home after a late night out. I have also drastically cut my monthly broadband costs by dropping contracts with major providers and buying a router and a prepaid subscriber identity module card. I also eat cheaply. I enjoy cooking, but I am fine with simple flavors, so I generally use the same staples and rarely use cheese, cream, or fats. Keeps everything cheap and cheerful. Story 86. Not much has changed since November. The major jumps occurred before then, with only incremental increases since. It mainly feels larger because it is on top of the giant increases from previous years. Story 87. We started buying groceries through Amazon Prime. They are about half the price and are delivered. Story 88. I switched from my beloved Publix to Aldi. I would say I save about $40 a week. Story 89. There has been a minimal increase in grocery prices for us. We have always been careful shoppers. Do not trust anyone in Washington. They are all bought and paid for. Story 90. I cut streaming services, switched to instant coffee, and changed from ground beef to turkey. We stopped going out for food. I used to order pizza every Friday, and now we make it from scratch, which is kind of fun. Story 91. Don't cut anything. I kept learning, received raises, worked extra, and became increasingly involved. To be honest, I don't even track expenses. Just buy smart and stock up whenever you can. Exploit credit card points, cashback, and sign up promotions too. Story 92. I have been priced out of certain grocery stores. I only go to Trader Joe's and Winco now. Story 93. The dollar amount is about the same, but I work harder to maintain it. At the beginning of the year, I started buying bulk items on sale that I thought would be affected by tariffs or subject to shortages, so I do not have to buy items like coffee now. Story 94. My budget has not changed because I can only afford basic necessities. I get less than half the groceries I received under President Biden for the same price. I also do not eat breakfast or lunch. Story 95. Giant was selling a 3-pound chuck roast for $42. Weiss and Walmart had the same 3-pound roast for half the price. I love a good chuck roast in the crock pot, but $21 is too much. Story 96. While the large price jump occurred before November 24th, prices have risen since then. I tend to buy less meat, much less from the deli because $12 per pound for ham is outrageous, and I no longer buy cookies or desserts because I have learned to make them myself. I will be making chocolate chip cookies later today. The cost will be about $8 for 3 dozen large cookies. Story 97. Okay, I just looked at a Ralph's order from November 10th, 2024 versus the same cart today. It is $6 more expensive. The first total is $180. The second total is $186. Story 98. Over $100. I can no longer shop at the same stores and now buy from discount grocery stores because I find more affordable options. I prepare and freeze what I can to help with expiration dates. Meat prices are shocking. I have not needed to buy beef in a long time because we butcher a cow each year. But we had a freezer accident, and when I saw current meat prices, I was stunned. Story 99. One example that springs to mind is that we used to get a 10-pound package of ground beef at Costco and Sam's Club for $20 to $25 at the start of the year. Last week, it cost us $48 for that same package. Story 100. I spend nearly all my money on groceries every week. To give you an idea of how little wiggle room I have, I just bought a new pair of shoes. My old shoes' sole ripped completely off the day the new shoes arrived. I found the new pair with a $100 discount, and they are decent work shoes. When I came home from buying groceries and tried to take my old shoe off, my foot slipped right through the hole. I had needed a new pair for over a year but could not scrape together enough cash until this paycheck. Story 101. It's easily $20 to $25 more per week. I've cut a lot of junk food, but healthier foods are notoriously expensive. It is really frustrating that, for wealthy people, the price of food is not even a consideration. My partner and I are fairly well off with above-average income and no children, and we still find the sticker shock at the grocery store unacceptable. I feel terrible for people in college or those with low incomes. This is just not sustainable, yet companies are making more money than ever. I understand inflation is a factor, but prices are generally about 20% higher than 5 years ago, and portions are often smaller. Many products are also less healthy, packed with sodium and other additives. Story 102. I have always been a clearance shopper. I buy items marked down so low, often damaged or out of season. Nowadays, those clearance racks at grocery stores are picked clean. Stores like Target are not even doing real clearance anymore because they know it gets gobbled up. They just mark 15% off and call it clearance. I miss the days when I found native deodorant for $4 a pop. I have cut down on eating out as much as possible. It's just pointless. The food is often mediocre or bad for luxury prices. Service is poor. DoorDash is too much. Even fast food is not worth it. My savings have gone up 75% because I adopted strategies that really help, and I lean into buying on sale when items are out of season. Do I have racks of ribs that I got for $5 a piece and froze because barbecue season was over? Yes. Have I been eating turkey all year because ground turkey has been dirt cheap? Yes. Story 103. I am essentially doing the same, using many coupons and buying clearance items. I am eating healthier with more beans and other high-protein choices. Grocery prices are certainly out of control. Story 104. Stop leaving the office for lunch. Bring a sandwich, fruit, homemade baked goods, and Sam's Club chips. Story 105. We are paying about $150 more this year than last. That includes switching to more house brands, reducing meat purchases, and cutting alcohol consumption. Fresh fruits and vegetables are just ridiculously expensive right now. Story 106. Probably about $50 per month. I eat a lot of eggs, which have decreased in price somewhat. Much of the produce and cheese at Market Basket has not changed at all. I shop for sale items and I am no longer buying beef. Story 107. My bill has stayed the same, mostly because I am single now and spend the same amount on nicer food just for myself. Story 108. Chuck was $11 per pound at the lowest price. I switched to buying more chicken breasts and tofu. Story 109. I've been going to the food bank for produce and bread, then to grocery outlet or Trader Joe's for protein. I'm eating a lot more chicken and pork. I haven't had a steak in a long time. Story 110. I live in Florida. Most of my groceries have more than doubled, although a few items are a little cheaper. Coffee prices have gone up a lot, and that really hurts. Story 111. It has gone down because I am an insane person with a chest freezer and access to a Costco business center. If it is not at Costco, we are not eating it at home. There are occasional exceptions for single ingredients, milk, or other incidental items. We spend about $400 per month for 2 people and 3 cats, and next year I will be milking the farmer's market for all it is worth. We also do not buy much pre-made food. I buy chicken nuggets, Diet Coke, and macaroni and cheese, and my wife has a particular fondness for Marie Callender's frozen chicken pot pies. That is it as far as treats go. No frozen pizza, desserts, frozen meals, chips, or similar snack items. The rest is ingredients and coffee. I should clarify that I am a cook and eat about half my meals at work, but I shop as if I do not to maintain a stockpile at home. You never know when you will need to go a month without buying food. Story 112. I used to keep the weekly grocery bill under $200. I still try for that, but I often make another trip during the week and spend $20 to $50 more. That is for a family of 5. The children are ages 21, 20, and 15. The oldest makes her lunch about half the time. The youngest gets school lunch. We used to eat out a lot, but I have had to stop. It would cost us $60 or more for pizza or other fast food. It is hard to spend 1/4 of the weekly grocery bill on one meal. We do not do any extras. Occasionally we go to the movies, but my oldest works there and gets a large discount on snacks and tickets. Story 113. I would say about 30%. We buy much more from Costco, even though we are a small household. I have bought far less makeup and other impulse online purchases. I buy clothing on sale with coupon codes and have bought much less than the year before. We also eat out less. It was every weekend, now it is twice a month. I avoid drinking out because I am not a big drinker and it annoys me to pay $15 to $20 per drink. We cut down on television streaming subscriptions. Story 114. It feels like every grocery trip costs about 33% more than in 2019. Many items have doubled in price, and prices have gotten even worse over the last 2 years. As a family of 4, beef just isn't on the menu at current prices, nor are $5 to $6 bags of chips or other junk food. Soda is also gone at $10 to $12 for a 12-pack. Story 115. At least a couple hundred. I don't really have any money anymore because of food, and even when I am able to get food, I'm still coming up short. Story 116. It has increased by $150 per week. I am now paying $300 per week for very minimal groceries. Story 117. I have not noticed much in the last year. The majority of the hurt occurred from January 2023 to July 2023. Story 118. 2 adults, 1 child, and a cat live in my household. We have cut back on eating out to once a month or only when we have a coupon. We have started checking the weekly sale ads for our local grocery stores and plan our shopping list based on what is on sale. Each week, we have been buying cheaper foods such as potatoes, tofu, and vegetables more often and trying to be more creative with meals. We are also buying more boxed items such as pasta, rice-a-roni, and macaroni and cheese since they are inexpensive when on sale. I do not have exact numbers, but we have been able to keep our grocery bill roughly the same. We have reduced purchases of fun items such as ice cream, specialty coffee beans, cookies, and snacks. We usually meet our goal of $100 to $125 per week, but it requires more planning on our part. Story 119. I've been buying mostly essentials: fresh, canned, and frozen vegetables, cans of soup, sliced cheese and deli meats for sandwiches, popcorn and chips. I splurge on eggs for protein, bacon, and generic Colombian coffee. And so it goes. Story 120. I was never a big breakfast eater, and now I almost never eat breakfast. I might finish a sausage patty or some fruit the kids do not eat, and I grab coffee at the office. Lunch is 90% leftovers or meal prep. My wife and I used to grill a steak every Sunday. Now I only cook a steak for her because she has iron issues. Story 121. I stopped eating lunch. I have just been holding out until dinner. Story 122. I guess on average it's up 10 to 20%, but my shopping trips are so inconsistent that it is hard to say for sure. I feel like I've been hitting the $200 mark on my weekly Kroger run more often than not, when it used to be about $175 at most. I shop sales like crazy. I rarely buy anything not on sale, and I buy a lot of managers' special markdowns on perishable items, assuming they look fine, the expiration date is not the same day, and I know I will use them before they go bad. Besides my frugality, I'm fortunate enough financially that I do not have to pay much attention to it, but I have absolutely noticed prices creeping up. Story 123. I spend $50 to $60 per week. I have pared down to the basics. Now I buy cookie or brownie mix for treats, and I portion, marinate, and freeze meats and fish for later use. I am trying to eliminate as much food waste as possible. I have also been able to make larger purchases and then spend only half the budget the following week if I have frozen items to use. Story 124. About $50 per week. I am financially comfortable for now, but I am cutting back to save for an inevitable market crash. I shop at Costco, Aldi, and my local grocer for groceries. I rarely eat out for dinner and bring my lunch to work. I would occasionally buy coffee at work or at lunch at the hospital, but it is far too overpriced. Tuna and beans are my main sources of protein. I have been a Sephora Rouge member for the past 5 to 6 years. I will spend less than $100 there this year and have not spent anything since the summer. I am locking in my spending. Story 125. I spend about $60 every 4 days to buy food that lasts 3 days for just me. Story 126. I buy almost no new clothes. I rarely go out for beers or order takeout, except for an occasional sandwich from a deli I like. I canceled my Netflix subscription. Basically, there is no fun anymore. I stay home with my dog and cats, and we are depressed because we have very little money. Story 127. It has almost doubled. We take advantage of store deals and application coupons and do the bulk of our shopping on Friday. Our grocery store offers 4 times the points, which gives up to $1 off gasoline. There are other things you can buy with points, but gasoline seems the most efficient. If something we want is not on sale, we simply do not buy it that week. Between Safeway and Fred Meyer, the item we want is usually on sale at one of those stores. They are across the street from each other and both are 2 miles from our home, so we do not waste gasoline hunting deals. There is also a Costco in the area. We go to Costco first and then buy what we cannot find there at the smaller stores when those items are on sale. This means we end up with a large amount of snacks that we only kind of like because they were on sale. That is better than having no snacks. Story 128. My bill has gone up by about $200 a month. I have stopped going out to eat. I buy fewer things for myself. Story 129. We save over $150 per month in rural Georgia. We cut all entertainment expenses, even cheap Tuesday movies, which also reduced our gas and car costs. We avoid buying new clothes or anything new if we can. We love thrift stores more than ever. Story 130. It costs $100 to $150 a month. Between rising costs and shrinkflation, I have canceled all but 2 television services because we have an autistic child. We drive 20 and 23-year-old cars. There have been no gifts for adults in a year for our children or for ourselves, only for the grandchildren. We don't eat out anymore. We have pizza as a treat for the children twice a month. So sad. I thought we were past this. We were lucky enough to buy our house in 2017 when prices and interest rates were low. Our payment is 1/4 of what a rundown 3-bedroom apartment would be. Story 131. My eyes bulge every time I go to the grocery store and see the prices. I get angry at the food companies raising prices simply because they can. They can offer justifications all day for why they must raise costs for consumers, but the bottom line is protecting profits. Story 132. I spend the same and get less food. There are more potatoes and rice, less beef like steak, and more pork and chicken. There is also more processed cheap food like sausage and hot dogs. I still spend about $100 a week for 3 people. Story 133. There is an increase of $100 per month. With that, my health insurance, and the rise in electricity and gas costs, I am trying to sell foot pictures on Twitter to supplement my income. I already work full-time and do freelance work. Story 134. I usually shop at Trader Joe's. I have stopped picking up a bouquet of flowers for my table and no longer walk down the aisle with beauty products and candles. It is not a huge sacrifice, but I really like having cheerful flowers on my dining table. Story 135. I stopped eating out altogether. I now eat out only once a month. Previously, groceries and eating out were in the same category, and I used to eat out weekly, so my overall spending has dropped. Grocery spending alone has increased, but my total categorized spending has gone down. I am a single male. Story 136. About $120 a month. I have cut back on salted snacks, soda, and cereal. I waste less bread and eat more stale bread. I am more selective about fruit and produce and pass on items that are out of season. I used to buy flowers once a month, but I do not anymore. I drink almost no alcohol. I have not bought a cookie in a year. Story 137. Both my husband and I work. We cut out anything unnecessary. Vacations are a thing of the past. We do not go to movies. I do not buy new clothes. I bake more instead of buying cookies or cake. I shop for deals at the grocery store. We do not eat out. We stay home. Story 138. Our usual grocery run that used to cost about $120 now costs almost $200. Same store, same items, same purchase frequency. Many of our subscribe and save household and pet items on Amazon have increased in price as well. In addition, our electric bill has gone up about $20 per month compared to the same time last year. Also, our health insurance through my spouse's employer has increased by $80 per month for the current enrollment period. We have cut back on dining out and other non-essentials. We also canceled a planned 3-day mini vacation. It appears that groceries, health insurance, and energy are getting more expensive and the economy is not improving. Story 139. I stopped buying beef and eggs until I can get them at Winco for lower prices. I stopped ordering food delivery or takeout and now make all our meals at home. I stocked up on bulk pantry staples and now shop at thrift stores much more than I buy new. I own a business, so I have to be mindful of my spending, even more than last year. Story 140. I have noticed that my bags now cost about $60 when full, nearly double the $30 they cost in 2023 when I moved to my current home. My diet and the items I buy have not changed. Story 141. My wife and I used to guess our total before checkout. It was always between $120 and $150. Now it's $300 easily. Granted, we have 2 kids, but I don't buy steak anymore. We cut out items we know we might not eat that month. No snacks, few treats, and no drinks. Story 142. Basic, straightforward math. We essentially buy the same thing every week. Last year, that cost $90. This year, it is $160. Story 143. Mine has stayed the same or decreased a little, But to be fair, I am on a glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist and eat 1 meal a day now. Story 144, we mostly go to Walmart or Sam's Club, and there is no noticeable difference in our expenses. The only area that has changed is restaurant spending, both sit-down and fast food. Story 145, I used to spend $80 per shopping trip. Now I spend about $110. That $30 increase puts less in my shopping cart. Story 146. I completely stopped getting coffee at the local drive-thru. I stopped shopping at higher-end stores such as Sprouts Farmers Market and now shop only at Winco. I stopped buying desserts and pastries at the store and started making my own when I want them. Unfortunately, I have started eating much less fresh produce and high-quality ingredients because they are too expensive. Story 147. An increase of between $150 and $175 per month. Just my wife and me. Story 148. Not much, to be honest. I think the problem is that many people are loyal to certain brands. When I look at eggs, some brands cost $10 per dozen, while several still cost $2 per dozen. The same applies to sandwich meat, cheese, and other items. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.